Have you ever thought about what it means to grow older without a safety net, no children, no spouse, and no close family to lean on? If so, you're not alone. In today's video, we're diving into the harsh reality of elder orphans, a growing phenomenon that could impact more of us than we realize. By the end of this video, you'll understand why planning for the future is more important than ever, and why staying informed now can help you or someone you love avoid becoming isolated in later life. Stick around to the end and you'll gain valuable insights on how to prepare, stay connected, and ensure you're not facing this journey alone. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video, you can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you still need to subscribe, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you can see all the videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1. If you don't like it, comment number 0 to let me know so I can make a better video for you. Now let's get started. It's interesting how life seems to align with the moment in unexpected ways. Today I stepped outside and I had no idea the weather would mirror the theme of our conversation so perfectly. Despite it being May, the air was cold, the sky overcast, and light rain began to fall, even though the forecast predicted clear skies. The dreary weather felt almost symbolic, reflecting the weight of the topic we're going to discuss, elder orphans. Just like this gray day, the topic feels heavy, carrying with it a sense of isolation and uncertainty. For those who may not be familiar with the term elder orphans, it's a concept that's becoming more prevalent in discussions about aging. These individuals, sometimes called solo agers, face their later years without the traditional family support systems that many take for granted. While solo agers is a softer term, it doesn't fully capture the reality that elder orphans experience. The truth is, it's not just about aging alone, it's about being in many ways orphaned as an adult. And I count myself among them. If you're watching this, there's a possibility that you may also be an elder orphan, or perhaps you're not there yet. But with the way things are progressing in our society, it's a fate that many more people are likely to face than we often realize. Even if it seems distant or irrelevant right now, the growing trend suggests that more and more individuals will find themselves in this cells. This is something we need to talk about, not just for our own sake, but for the sake of our communities and future generations. It's a conversation that impacts how we plan for our later years and how we care for those who are aging without a support system. So what exactly does it mean to be an elder orphan? It's more than just the absence of parents, although that loss is certainly a part of it. It means being without any immediate family, no children to call, no spouse to lean on, and often no close relatives to offer emotional or financial support as you navigate the challenges of aging. In many ways, you find yourself truly on your own. Sure, you might still have friends or a social network, but when it comes to the foundational support that family traditionally provides in old age, that kind of safety net is absent. The phenomenon of elder orphans isn't entirely new, but it is becoming more pronounced. As I've delved into the subject, I've noticed a growing number of articles, studies, and expert opinions highlighting the issue. What's particularly alarming is how ill-prepared our society, especially here in the US, is to address it. We lack a robust social safety net or infrastructure designed to support individuals aging alone. And that's a reality that should concern all of us. Our healthcare system, social services, and community support networks are not equipped to handle the increasing number of people who will face their later years without traditional family support. This isn't just a personal concern, it's a societal challenge that we must start addressing if we are to ensure that elder orphans do not face their twilight years in isolation and neglect. In a world where family ties are often seen as the cornerstone of aging well, being an elder orphan can feel daunting. And yet, it's a situation more and more people are finding themselves in, whether by choice, circumstance, or a combination of the two. And we need to acknowledge this growing demographic and ensure that our communities, governments, and healthcare systems are ready to support those who are aging alone. This conversation is just the beginning. Let me share some personal context with you so you can better understand where I'm coming from. I currently live in low-income senior housing, and I feel a deep sense of gratitude for this because it provides me with a roof over my head that I can afford. However, if my health were to deteriorate to the point where I needed more assistance, whether it be assisted living or a higher level of care, the sad truth is that I simply wouldn't be able to afford it. In that situation, my only option would likely be a nursing home, and the way it works is that my social security check would go directly to the facility each month. While they would take care of my basic needs, such as food, shelter, and healthcare, It's not the kind of life I envision for myself in my final years. I don't want to be confined to a situation where I have no autonomy over my life, and I know I'm not alone in feeling this way. The harsh reality for most people in my age group, I'm 69, is that we are unprepared for the future when we can no longer take care of ourselves. We haven't made the necessary financial or living arrangements for the possibility that we might need significant care. According to the ARP, around 12% of the population aged 50 and older fall into the category of what is now being referred to as elder orphans. That statistic, 12%, might seem small, but when you think about it, it's a significant number of people, and the trend is on the rise. As more people age without children, or as family dynamics become more fractured due to divorce, distance, or estrangement, more of us find ourselves facing this reality. And even for those who do have children, the assumption that they'll be taken care of in their old age is far from a given. Many parents have grown distant from their children, whether because of geographic separation, emotional estrangement, or other factors. And so, despite having family somewhere out there, you can still end up living like an elder orphan, essentially alone, without close family support. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. This situation stands in stark contrast to how things used to be, and I find myself reflecting on my mother's time back when families operated differently. My mother grew up during the Great Depression and into the 1940s, an era when families stuck together much more closely than they do now. People looked out for one another, not just within their nuclear families, but across extended families and even communities. I remember my mother telling me stories about how, back in her day, it wasn't uncommon for people to take in others who weren't even blood relatives. If someone in the community was down on their luck, maybe they lost their job, had no money, or couldn't afford food, families would open their homes to them until they could get back on their feet. There was this sense of shared responsibility that seems to have faded over time. People recognized that caring for one another was part of being in a community, and this provided a kind of safety net, even if it wasn't through blood relations. I'm not saying it was like this for everyone, but it was common enough that many had some level of support, even if their own family wasn't able to help them. Fast forward to today, the safety net that once existed for the elderly has significantly diminished, especially in countries like the United States. We've become a society that places a high value on individualism and self-sufficiency, often at the expense of community and familial responsibility. This shift has led to increased isolation, with fewer people feeling either willing or able to care for those around them, particularly the elderly. In many other cultures, there remains a deeply ingrained sense of duty and honor in caring for aging family members. In places like Japan or certain parts of Europe, it's considered a privilege to take care of one's aging parents or relatives. The elderly are viewed with respect, and their care is seen as a responsibility shared among family members. Unfortunately, in much of the Western world, including the United States, this obligation is often viewed as a burden. There's a growing sentiment that elderly care is not our responsibility, leaving many older adults without the familial support they need. It's a sad reflection of how our cultural values have shifted over time. When I think back to my childhood in the 1950s and 60s, I don't recall hearing much about older people who had no place to go. Part of this was because people simply didn't live as long. Advances in modern medicine have extended life expectancy, which, while a blessing, has also brought about a longer period where older adults may need significant care and assistance. The aging population is living longer than ever, but with that comes the challenge of ensuring they have the resources and support to maintain a dignified quality of life in their later years. Back then, the concept of homelessness among the elderly wasn't as prevalent as it is today. It's alarming to see the rise in homelessness among older adults, something that was much less common when I was younger. Recent studies reveal that a large percentage of the homeless population is now over the age of 50. The sight of older individuals struggling on the streets is a heartbreaking reminder of how societal structures have failed them. While some of the reasons behind this increase can be attributed to issues like addiction, a growing number of those experiencing homelessness are simply aging individuals who have outlived their financial resources and support systems. Many of these older adults are what some call elder orphans, individuals who have no family or close friends to rely on. They may have once had families or partners, but for various reasons, whether death, distance, or estrangement, they find themselves alone as they age. It's a sobering reality. We are now seeing a large population of people over 50 who lack the financial resources, social networks, or familial connections to sustain them through old age. For those living alone, this independence can be empowering, but it's only sustainable for as long as one remains healthy and able to manage their day-to-day tasks. But what happens when health begins to fail? When independence turns into vulnerability, who will care for those who are left without a support system? This is the harsh reality facing so many today, and it's one that I've come to terms with for myself. For me, the best I can do is continue to take care of my health and hope that I don't find myself in a situation where I need long-term care for years before I pass away. It's not a comforting thought, but it's a reality that many of us are confronting as we age. According to Health and Human Services, a staggering 77% of people over the age of 50 have not made any formal plans for their old age. This means they have no living will, no designated power of attorney, and no strategy in place for long-term care. Yet studies show that 70% of us will require some form of long-term care in our later years. Whether it's help with daily activities like cooking and cleaning or full-time medical care in a nursing facility, the need is very real, especially for those who develop debilitating conditions like Alzheimer's or other age-related illnesses. The question then becomes, how do we prepare for a future that so many of us aren't ready to face? As we live longer and age alone, without the same safety nets that once existed, we must consider how we can care for ourselves and others in our communities. If we don't, we risk becoming part of a growing population of elderly individuals who are left to navigate the challenges of old age without the support they deserve. The lack of planning for the future, particularly when it comes to aging, isn't simply because people are careless or indifferent. In many cases, it's rooted in something deeper, a natural reluctance to confront the uncomfortable truths that come with getting older. The reality of aging brings with it uncertainties about health, financial security, and support systems, and these are not easy things to think about. I can admit that I, too, have avoided facing these thoughts. There's a tendency to push them to the back of our minds, because they force us to confront our vulnerability and mortality, something most of us would rather not dwell on. At this point in my life, I'm doing reasonably well. My health is stable, and I'm managing to get by, but I'm fully aware that this situation could change in an instant. Whether it's an unexpected illness, an injury, or a shift in financial circumstances, life can turn on a dime. Yet even with that knowledge, it's difficult to fully face what might be ahead because I lack the safety net that many people take for granted: family to rely on or substantial financial stability to fall back on in tough times. This absence of a reliable support system makes the future feel even more precarious, and it's a daunting prospect to navigate. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. So what can we do about this? We can't control everything, but one of the few things we do have some power over is our health. Taking care of ourselves as much as possible is a critical first step. For me, this means that I'm on a slow and deliberate journey to lose weight, which has been a primary concern for my overall well-being. But weight loss is just one aspect of my efforts. I also make it a point to walk regularly, incorporating physical activity into my routine, particularly exercises that are well suited for older adults. This helps me stay active and maintain mobility. Additionally, I'm mindful of my diet, making conscious choices about what I eat to ensure that I'm healthily fueling my body. Despite all of these efforts, though, I'm not under any illusions. There are no guarantees when it comes to health. We can do everything right and still face unexpected health challenges. That's why it's important to take control of what we can, while we still can do so, and try to prepare ourselves for the unknown as best we can. In addition to personal health management, there are broader concerns that need to be addressed, especially as we age without the traditional support systems that many others have. According to the National Institutes of Health, 3 major concerns disproportionately affect elder orphans, those of us who are aging without close family ties or the typical familial support structure. These concerns are loneliness, chronic health conditions, and mental health issues such as depression and anxiety. Loneliness, in particular, can have a devastating impact on older adults, leading to a decline in both mental and physical health. Fortunately for me, loneliness hasn't been a significant issue because I tend to be naturally introverted and somewhat of a loner. I don't mind spending time by myself, and in many ways, I thrive on it. However, I'm well aware that for a lot of people, the isolation that comes with living alone, especially in the later years of life, can be emotionally crippling. The absence of daily interaction, the lack of someone to talk to, and the feeling of being cut off from the world can take a serious toll. For those who struggle with loneliness, it's vital to have some form of social connection, even if it doesn't come from family. Friendships, neighbors, or community groups can provide that much needed sense of connection and belonging. Having people to reach out to and spend time with can act as a lifeline, helping to stave off some of the mental and emotional tolls that come with living alone. Staying socially engaged, even in small ways, can have a profound impact on mental health and overall well-being, especially as we age. Mental health is another critical issue that becomes more pressing as we grow older. Aging brings its own set of challenges, and for many it can lead to a decline in mental health. Depression and anxiety are common among older adults, and these conditions are often exacerbated by the physical health challenges that come with aging. Mental health and physical health are closely intertwined. When one suffers, the other is likely to suffer as well. For example, someone dealing with chronic pain or illness might experience heightened levels of depression or anxiety, which, in turn, can make it even harder to manage their physical health. In my case, I've dealt with anxiety for most of my life. It's something that has always been there in the background, and while it hasn't necessarily worsened as I've aged, it's still something I have to actively manage. For others, however, depression can become a much more serious issue, particularly as they grow older and face the various challenges that come with aging. Depression in older adults can lead to withdrawal from social life, a lack of interest in activities they once enjoyed, and even neglect of their physical health. This kind of self-neglect can create a dangerous cycle where mental health deteriorates, which then leads to physical health problems, and those physical health problems further worsen mental health. Without intervention, this cycle can be incredibly difficult to break. Managing mental health as we age is just as important as managing physical health, and it requires a proactive approach. This might mean seeking therapy, practicing mindfulness or meditation, staying socially engaged, or even making lifestyle changes that promote a sense of well-being. The key is to recognize the signs of declining mental health early, and to take steps to address them before they have a chance to spiral out of control. It's not easy, and it requires effort, but maintaining mental health is crucial to ensuring a good quality of life in our later years. Facing the prospect of becoming an elder orphan can evoke a wide range of emotions, from fear and anxiety to sadness and confusion. As you contemplate this possibility, it's essential to remember not to succumb to despair. The reality of aging alone, without the familiar support systems of family and close friends, can feel incredibly daunting. However, maintaining hope and nurturing a positive attitude is vital during this challenging time. It's all too easy to get caught up in catastrophic thinking, spiraling into worst-case scenarios, imagining a future where you might be abandoned in a nursing home for decades, living in poverty, or even struggling to meet basic needs. This kind of thinking can be paralyzing and cloud your ability to see the potential for joy and fulfillment in your later years. There's a psychological technique known as thought stopping that can help you break free from this negative mindset. When you catch yourself spiraling into these distressing thoughts, consciously tell yourself to stop. Acknowledge the feelings, but then redirect your focus towards something more constructive. This mental shift can be incredibly empowering, allowing you to reclaim control over your thoughts and emotions. Rather than being immobilized by fear, concentrate on actionable steps you can take today to improve your situation and secure your future well-being. While none of us can predict or fully control what lies ahead, we can influence the present moment. Start by assessing your current needs and exploring practical options that can enhance your quality of life. For instance, consider creating a living will, which can help articulate your healthcare preferences and ensure that your wishes are respected in the event of a medical crisis. Additionally, researching long-term care insurance can provide peace of mind, helping you prepare for potential future healthcare needs. And even if you're not yet ready to make significant decisions, engaging in smaller actions such as reaching out to friends, neighbors, or local community groups can cultivate a supportive network that proves invaluable as you age. Maintaining social connections is essential at any stage of life, particularly as we navigate the complexities of aging. And strong relationships with family, friends, and community members can provide a buffer against loneliness and isolation, which are often heightened among elder orphans. Regularly reaching out for social interaction can enrich your life in numerous ways, whether through shared meals, hobbies, or participation in community events. Engaging with others can foster a sense of belonging and purpose, reminding you that you are not alone in this journey. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. In addition to nurturing your human connections, consider the profound impact that pets can have on your well-being. Many studies have shown that having a dog or cat not only provides companionship but also significantly improves both mental and physical health. Pets bring joy, comfort, and a sense of routine into our lives, which can be particularly beneficial as we grow older. They give us a reason to get out of bed each day, encouraging us to maintain a level of activity and engagement with the world around us. I know of a neighbor in his 70s who faces serious health challenges, yet his unwavering love for his dog keeps him motivated and resilient. His pet gives him purpose and companionship, enriching his life in ways that alleviate loneliness and enhances overall well-being. It's important to acknowledge that there is no one-size-fits-all solution to the challenges elder orphans face. Each individual's circumstances are unique, and what works for one person may not resonate with another. The key is to recognize that these issues are complex and deeply personal. However, by raising awareness and fostering open conversations about the realities of aging alone, we can better prepare ourselves and others both individually and as a society. This is not merely a personal journey, it requires collective understanding and support. I am committed to exploring this topic further because I believe it is increasingly critical as our population ages. More people are finding themselves in similar situations, and we must share our experiences and insights. By discussing the realities of aging without a traditional support network, we can help others navigate their fears and uncertainties. It's not just about surviving old age, but about thriving and making the most of the time we have left. Together, we can confront these challenges and create a future where aging alone does not have to equate to aging in isolation. Let's work towards building stronger communities, encouraging friendships, and developing support networks that can uplift each other as we age. By sharing our stories, offering advice, and lending a listening ear, we can create a more compassionate and understanding society that values the contributions and experiences of every individual, regardless of their familial status. Ultimately, let's commit to facing the challenges of elder orphanhood together, supporting one another, and ensuring that everyone can find joy and purpose in their later years. Now that we've explored the reality of growing older alone and the importance of preparing for the future, I'd love to hear from you. What have you learned from this video? Comment below with one thing that stood out to you and that you will bring into practice in your own life. If you found this video helpful, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more insightful content. Thank you for watching, and remember, stay hopeful, stay connected, and take care of yourselves.